This evening, I am going to share with you two specific things that I have been doing to find out what my favorite skills are and where I might use them. My story begins a mere 6 months after I had been hired to serve in my current position as an office secretary, in which I had feelings of restlessness and unsatisfaction, and I attributed that to a poor job choice. So I sought out the best career counselor that I could find, and my search led me to Richard Nelson Bowles, a renowned vocational coach and an author. And we did not meet personally, but became acquainted through his book, What Color's Your Parachute, a popular career guide that has the distinction of being revised annually. And I just happen to have in my hands the latest 2011 edition. Skills are defined as the ability to perform some type of action, such as the ability to listen or the ability to speak comfortably in a public forum. Richard suggested the first thing I needed to do in order to identify my favorite skills was to think of a story, but not just any old story, a story in which, number one, I accomplished something, and number two, I had fun doing it. So I thought of a situation at work in which I was asked to contribute to a departmental bulletin board. That was fun, and I definitely did achieve something in the process. So now with the story in mind, I then used a carefully crafted worksheet in order to find out what skills were used during my experience. And I just have a sample of the exercise that I used, and feel free to pass this down to help illustrate my point. So during this exercise, I asked myself a number of questions in order to determine which skills were used during this one personal story. But one story is not going to tell the entire story. I had to repeat this a number of times in order to see a clear pattern of my favorite skills used during times in which I was having fun, yet being productive. And some of the skills I uncovered, which I will share with you, is the ability to use my hands in assembling items, the ability to convey thoughts and feelings using tone of voice and images. So now, having identified my favorite skills, Richard Bowles then suggested the second thing I needed to do was figure out where those skills might be used, preferably in areas that interest me, and speak with people in those fields. So I considered the field of education, I considered the field of art, as well as communication. So similarly, I spoke with teachers and educators. I had friends in those fields. I spoke with graphic artists and illustrators. I knew some contacts, but radio personalities or broadcasters, I didn't know anyone. So I simply called a couple of local radio stations and introduced myself in a similar manner, such as, "Good day, Don. My name is Corey Dunning, and I'm thinking about transitioning to the field of broadcasting. But I need to speak with a couple of people in your position before making a decision. With your permission, may I meet with you for about 20 minutes to learn more about what you do?" And once I had an audience with someone who agreed to meet with me, I would ask key questions such as, how did you get started in this field? What do you enjoy most about what you do? Or what types of skills and or educational requirements are needed in order to be successful? And if the field really interests me, I found 2 more people and conducted that same session. And Richard Bowles calls this informational interviewing. And it's a matter of simply mentally trying on a job to determine whether or not it's the right fit before making the decision to pursue it. So in conclusion, although my ideal field has not been redacted to me, I do believe that by becoming familiar with my favorite skills and speaking with people in areas where those skills can be used will eventually direct me towards a position that satisfies me. So fellow Toastmasters, my journey definitely continues. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.